All right, live from Miami.
Yeah, on location.
It'll
It's a terrible angle of my face. I don't like it, but
work.
yeah, it works.
I'm gonna have to start wearing my sunglasses inside, like this guy at a wedding over the weekend.
It's,
Oh
I mean, it's a power move for sure.
my gosh! And then I just asked around. I was like, "What is his deal? Take the glasses off." He even gave a speech with glasses on.
Did he
And,
really?
and apparently, it's just because his eyes are always so bloodshot from how much weed he does.
Oh, that's good. That'll do it to
So
you.
at least there's a reason. Um,
Cause and effect.
yeah. All right, so kind of catch us up and I can talk a little bit about the markets today. The last couple days, we finally gotten some good news. The just article hitting my phone now. I get so many alerts on my phone, but
Yeah.
uh, yesterday and this morning, both positive for rates. For the last couple weeks, it's been kind of tough. You'd get like a positive, but then it opened up negative the next day. Or
Right.
a part of the day is like opens up positive, and then the rest of the day it tanks, and you're like, we lose all the gains. You're like, what is going on? And so we finally got two back to back kind of in a row. So we'll see what happens throughout the day here. But if we can close off the week here, staying in the positive like we are, then we might start seeing rates really truly be below 7. The
Nice.
average rate always shows a number, and right now it's been showing, around 7. But then when you get quoted out, you're like 7.1, 7.3. So obviously credit has everything to do with that. Make sure your credit's up. I've had two experiences lately where people legitimately said, well, yeah, actually, I have had some late for my credit because I just forgot.
Forgot to
I
tell you.
forgot to make I forgot to
Mhm.
make those car payments or the
Yeah.
credit card payments. And then
You're
there's
like,
another
yeah.
one where it's like another one I'm working on right now. They said they totally forgot to file taxes. It just slipped their mind. So it is wild what goes on out there with really well qualified buyers, how
Yeah.
much they aren't paying attention to the whole thing or don't know to pay attention. There's so much that goes into what's the interest rates today. Like it doesn't matter if you don't have your documents in order for underwriting.
Hmm.
So uh, it's really hard to understand. That's why I'm trying to do so much more education and so much more stuff because of the stuff that I'm hearing from clients lately. What
Yeah.
about you?
I mean, to speak on the credit part, I mean, that does impact their insurance as well. I think that's something that gets lost on clients and home buyers. See it more so on the auto side, just because you're getting a recurring payment every month versus once a year. But yeah, you miss a payment, like it can affect your insurance rates. We're not pulling hard credit pulls, but they do take a look. And if you don't look like you can pay your bills, they're gonna try to get as much money on the front end as they can. It impacts you. It's not like you
Well,
said, it's not just the rate of your mortgage, it's all these other things that are going to hurt. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes. You got to be prepared.
yeah, the preparation part though, don't think like, oh, you need to be prepared on your own before you talk to us. We are literally, our job is to help you prepare. So
Right.
you're not, as a consumer, you're not supposed to know all these things unless you've done a lot of research. Well, let's let you skip a bunch of steps and we can help you but with that research with what we know on your and customize it to your personal situation
Hmm.
because it's nasty out there. Underwriters are getting really tight. Investors on the secondary market who buy all these loans, they say, "Oh, my loan got sold." Well, that's what makes the world of mortgage go around is selling loans on the secondary. So they're getting tight. They're very specific. They're very needy. They want what they want. And if you can't get it to them, I had an experience. They just say no. I'm like, but this is a well qualified buyer, and
Yeah.
you're saying no to something that they can't control from a guy who never issued a W-2 illegally in the past, and that's not even in the situation anymore. They're like, sucks to suck, man. Our thing's our thing. We want it this way or no. So underwriting is strict. Even if you think you've got everything perfect, you may or may not.
Hmm.
It's
It, it,
very nuanced.
yeah, it's becoming the same way on our end too. You know, great home, great drivers, good cars, good credit, and one or two things they just don't like, and it's a hard no.
Yeah.
So yeah, underwriters are getting very, very stringent on
Yeah. And
all
so,
sides.
and going back to the rates and how things change, well, I finally got an alert on my phone that says consumer sentiment is going down. Duh, it's been going down for 3 years.
Yeah.
But all these reports and economists and everything else, they use credit card debt and credit card spending that is more than ever, way over $1 trillion. They've used that to say that the consumer is still out there spending money and is resilient.
Hmm.
Well, now they're not spending money on credit cards as much because of tariff talk and all these other things that are finally scaring them to saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't keep spending and going further into debt.
Yeah.
So, not spending to go further into debt is thinking. They went into crippling debt that they were not going to be able to get out of without bankruptcy. That was the sinking ship. So, consumer sentiment has been, or the strength of the consumer has been going down for a few years, but
Hmm.
now people are just saying it out loud.
Yeah. I think people are just starting to acknowledge it.
Yep. Um, I'm keeping some notes here. But it's uh it's rough. So it is rough out there. Underwriting is rough. Affordability crisis can be rough. But there's still people buying in the market. There's still appreciation being seen in real
Hmm.
estate as an investment as a whole. The stock market is starting to go again.
Yeah.
Crypto is at 104 yesterday. Bitcoin anyway. So some may feel pain, others might feel really big opportunities. And a home, real estate, owning your own home versus renting has been, and I think will continue to be, the biggest thing you can do to go from oh no to oh yes, right? That bridges the gap more than anything else out there.
Hmm.
Equity over time, being able to control your payments more than just a landlord saying, yo, here's what it is now.
Yeah.
Um, there's things you can do to help control your payments. Your interest rate, as long as it's fixed, it's not moving. Your taxes and insurance might, but you can negotiate. You can reshop that stuff. You can
Hmm.
protest taxes. A great success story. A client has been calling me, asking me for advice on what to do. Gave her some tips. She went down to Tarrant County, uh,
Hmm.
and other counties are difficult. I protested in Dallas County, and I'm not very good over there with their systems, and I still don't know where I stand. So, but Tarrant County way different. So she goes to Tarrant County, and she got over $50,000 off of the assessed value for her taxes. So
That'll
she's going to
help.
see big savings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, there's
and she's noticed some videos I put out and says she's following and watching. So I'm like, yes. And because of that, we're able to get her 50K off. She's never done it before.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, there's real reward with just even minimal effort.
Yes. And it took her a little bit of time. She went down physically to the place, but Tarrant County is so much easier than all these other counties. And it's the process online is hard because you don't really know. But in person, you go there, you go to the window, they tell you what's going on. Hey, we can actually give you this, and you're like, okay, nice.
Great. Yeah.
I'll see you
Great.
later. Thanks.
Yeah. I do it online.
Um,
I type in my number and it says, "Great, here, sign this," and I'm like, "Shit, I should have gone higher."
well, but so Dallas, you have to submit it, and then they got to review it, and like they put you into a
Really?
hearing right away. Every county is different. Tarrant County truly is on the cutting edge of trying to make this consumer friendly. They've gone
Yeah.
through a lot of bad stuff, but a lot of people are out there advocating. So and the advocating word is in my life a lot now with the trigger lead legislation and stuff that we've talked about in DC. We're
Hmm.
trying to hammer home some stuff for FHA and VA to be able to do cash outs in Texas because for some stupid reason you can't do that. So like, if you make it loud enough, you do get heard. But
Hmm.
the system is not set up to do the right thing and to look out for your best interests. So you
Right.
have to be loud for the system to say, oh, you know what, I agree. But you've got to be crazy loud. We have over or the organization that's running the Trigger Lead stuff has over 100 representatives uh, for their bill.
Mhm.
But yet only one from Texas. Why is all these Texas people, especially these Republicans out there, saying how, personal privacy and this and that? A personal data privacy bill, one person, a Democrat from the state of Texas. Nobody else has jumped on board yet.
Because they're all making money off of it.
It could be that they have special interest behind them. Absolutely. It could be that they haven't paid any attention to it, that they're too busy looking at other stuff, and it
That's it.
haven't
Yeah.
been loud enough from their constituents to tell them, hey, this is to us, put this on the priority list. Because they say all the right things on their speeches, but then they just go and do whatever's the loudest.
Yeah.
So it's really important stuff. But anyway, people are buying right now. What kind of people are you seeing out there acquiring real estate?
I mean, I still deal with a heavy amount of investors, a lot of fix and flips. You're seeing really light fix and flips. Like I'm seeing purchase, like I'm having to double check with the buyer. Like, are you sure this is the right address? Because this doesn't look like a flip to me. They're going to go in, they're going to replace the plank floors, they're going to paint, and then they're going to sell it. And I'm like, so however they're obtaining these, because they're typically off market, I don't know, but their turnaround time is usually 30 to 60 days. So there are some aggressive investment groups out there, or just teams, or one person who are doing it to scale just in a super, super tight timeline. And they're like, well, cool. Instead of making 40 grand, let's make our quick 10 in 30 days and move on. So they're getting skinny on their, I guess, margins. But they are being very quick about it. So the holding costs are low, you know, they're coming in pretty much 100% finance, their leverage that they're bringing to the table, and probably you understand that a little bit more, is like they're coming in almost zero cash into the deal, and they're getting out before they lose any money on interest, holding costs, taxes, whatever it may be. Um, so the groups that I've seen are moving extremely, extremely fast, and it's no longer the dump on the end of the street that takes 6 months to renovate. They're like, we'll paint it, we'll put it back on the market.
People have been doing that forever, right? They call that
Yeah,
lipstick on a pig.
yeah, exactly.
So they also call it, in some cases, hold tailing. Have you ever heard that word?
Hmm.
What do you know what that means? Break
I
that
don't really
down.
know what it means, but I've heard that term a couple times.
I believe it to mean that they're not. So wholesaling would be like signing a contract.
Hmm.
So never closing on the property. Wholetailing, I believe, to mean you buy the property and then don't do any work to it and immediately relist it.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, some of
So
these are moving
that's how
fast.
I've understood it. Yeah. So they're closing on it. They own it, whether or not they're renovating or not, but then putting it back on the market.
Yeah, and it's costing me money because they cancel their policies, and I don't get what I'm owed for the work. But they do a lot of them, so it's quantity over quality at that point with guys like that. But
Which
I mean,
But that is the way of the U.S. economy right now. Is
mhm.
everyone wants more. Look at Fort Worth. We just passed 1 million in population in the city of Fort Worth, and everybody's talking about growth, 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 and good growth and whatever. And it's all bullshit. But everybody wants growth, quality.
Mhm.
So really, truly, the economy as a whole right now, everyone pushes more, more, more so much, and that's why you're seeing the quality of these new build homes go down. The sizes are going down. The materials that they're using is not like it was before. That is going to keep happening in perpetuity for money.
Yeah, I mean, it's true with everything. You look at just consumer products. It's like,
Yeah. Tub of butter. They call it shrinkflation, right? Tub of butter used
mm,
to be this big, $3. Now it's $7 and it's this big.
yeah,
Um, it is what it is. So,
yeah,
but you have to understand these things when you're out there. So again, home ownership can help bridge some of these gaps. Well, maybe you can't afford it now because it's is what it is. But if you get in early, which is now compared to 10 years from now is early.
yeah,
It's late
exactly.
if you compare yourself to 10 years ago, it's late.
Hmm.
So the thing is, buy real estate and wait. Don't
Hmm.
wait to buy real estate. And you can say the same with investments. everybody ever is going to do a calculation and say, well, if your IRA or 401k has 10 grand and you do the maximum contributions, then by the time you're 65, you'll have $1 million. Well, it's compound interest, and real estate's the same thing. It's all the same idea.
Yeah.
And so who is buying right now? The majority of the people that we have on our books are either first-time home buyers, which is great, that they're still figuring out a way to make it work, and investors. And so we spent some time. I crossed enemy lines. I went to Dallas, and I went to a big expo with all these different people that have all this other private money offerings, so that we could develop some more strategic partnerships to be able to offer more to investors all over the country. Because I can do investment deals in any state. It doesn't have to be Texas. There's like most of the states. There's a couple that are still kind of funky. You don't do business in. Like for some reason, the Dakotas are hard. For
Really?
yeah. And then like I think Massachusetts is hard. Stuff like that.
I mean, how many investors are you dealing with in Massachusetts? So it's kind of one of those things. Yeah.
I got a call to help somebody in the Carolinas. I get calls about Oklahoma, Iowa, Illinois, where I'm from originally. So any places, I can do all that. So, and these strategic partners are going to help us be able to do more and have better offerings than what we have had. So part of my job as a broker and a business owner is to make sure our resources that we have to offer are up to date and are good enough, but then are better than good enough. And so lately we've had like good enough for our investors, but now it feels like we're going to be able to bring on some more partnerships that are pretty good.
That's good. I mean, I see the end result a lot of times because I'm dealing with just like 24 hours before closing. There's a lot of people heavy on investments still. I mean, you know that, but the amount of people I've met from out of state or talked to from out of state in the last 6 months that have either moved here or they've changed their plan to now invest here is not slowing down at all.
No, I mean, it's going to keep going. It's going to grow even more than that. So if you think a home is expensive now, it's going to be more expensive in the future. I used to live in San Diego, in Southern California, and that market was insulated. It was more community-ish than like an LA was, where it's just a big sprawl. And so our market reflects them so much. And I see so many similarities from 8-9 years ago in San Diego to what we're seeing over the last couple of years here. So over there, they're like, the bubble's going to burst. The bubble's going to burst. Just because there was one really horrible bubble that burst due to a lot of problems that have since been solved, or at least are being looked at and like through a magnifying glass. The bubble, there's no bubble to burst, I don't believe. I think it's just a regular market now going up and down, supply and demand. So just like it happened over there, if I would have bought a house in San Diego 8 years ago, it would be worth so much more today.
Right.
And so at that time, though, they were like, just wait, watch this. It's coming down. And it didn't. And we're hearing that same Chicken Little stuff here. It's got to fall. Look at the tariffs. Here's our new thing to tell you why it's going to fall. We have over 1 million people that all need to live somewhere and that all want the American dream of owning a business and owning a house and being left alone. So if that changes, then maybe the market changes. But for no way in the near future are those ideals going to change. Immigrants are coming here left and right wanting the American dream, and they want to buy homes too. So people migrating from other states and other countries. And home ownership is a huge goal for a lot of people. If you think it's expensive now, just wait. Take advantage of sellers feeling the pinch and get a low purchase price, get closing costs covered. Let's figure out some different things. We can work on, especially if you're self-employed or something, and you need lower payments to help your budgets. Well, let's do a loan without an escrow account. And then that way you're only paying principal and interest, and we can pay that insurance and taxes just once a year, and we can budget for that. We can use financial planning and advisors to budget for that and to gain some money on investments in the meantime. Like there's no one way to do things. There's a lot of different ways
Right.
to do things. And
Yeah.
investors know it. And investors are basically cutting corners right now because they can and they're making money. So you can have some more standards, get more people buying those houses, and then those corners don't get cut. But investors, there's good ones out there and there's bad ones. There's
Right.
institutionals and then there's regional and local, just like every other business. So is BlackRock going to do the right thing for you as an institutional? No. Is your local bank a little bit more interested in your situation? Of course. So same thing with flippers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And we've been saying this since we started recording. You buy real estate for what it could be, not what you think it should be.
What's it for you right now? And then
Yeah.
just don't even worry about the future. It's going to be better. In 80 plus years, there's only been 5 years of a down market, and almost all of them were in '08 times.
Yeah.
Every other year, appreciation has gone up. I've posted
Yeah.
that. Please reference my posts.
Mhm.
Real estate, data wise, is one of the better investments out there. Yeah, you can go in the market and maybe get 12% one year, but another year you might get negative 3%.
Yeah.
And the whole
Mm.
time, the real estate market's just at 4,
Hmm.
3. You know, you're not going to get rich off of one property. But if you're planning a family and your kid's got to go to college in 18 years, you might have college money as equity that you can use.
Yeah.
So
It's a
you
big,
have to think about it like that.
it's a huge vehicle to use. That's really the only way you should look at it. It's just another tool.
Yep. And we're adding more tools to help more people say yes and be able to get underwriters to say yes to them, every day.
Mhm.
So that's our whole bit is like, we want to say yes to you, but you can't come to me with a wild scenario. And then like, we still have to, as lenders, we still have to make sure it's a good loan.
Yeah.
There are things as bad loans. If you've got multiple 30 and 60-day lates on a mortgage payment of a house that you currently own, and you want to come to me, that's probably not a yes. You've not demonstrated that I should want to say yes.
Yeah.
If you have bankruptcies, repossessions, foreclosures, all within 12 months, not great. If you have that stuff set, a few years ago, and you've built your portfolio and your profile up since then, and you've done the right things, and you've tried to work on it, now I'm interested.
You have to sell. I tell this to commercial clients all the time. Like, I need as much information as possible because I have to sell you to the underwriter.
Yeah,
I want you as a client. I want to make money. I want to help you. I think what we can do for you is great, but the underwriter has to agree. So I have to sell you, whether that's, you know, probably some parallels on the loan side, but like business length. How long have you been in business? So work history, how much revenue, so your income, you know, I have to show all these things that, hey, you're safe. Your business is not going to go under in 2 months, and they're going to lose all this money they were anticipating bringing in. Same with a loan. You want to make sure you can pay it.
yeah.
You're smart.
Well,
You're not going to make
what
a
is
wild choice.
the definition of underwriting in layman's terms is making sure that you have the ability to repay the loan.
Hmm.
And if your history and all your documents say, I have all these other loans that I chose not to repay or couldn't repay, then you don't have the ability likely to repay the loan you're asking for.
Yeah, it's simple. It's very simple. But
So yeah, it's tough. And as an investor too, you got a lot of things. I just got an email. I got a tenant that isn't paying, and we said that we're not renewing your lease and not moving. And it's tough if you make decisions to where you have a lot of expenses and no income and bad credit. Other landlords are not going to say yes.
mhm.
Some landlords will take these types of cases on and prey on them. We don't want to kick this person out, but at some point, you've got to start making some decisions that
Yeah,
are gonna want people to help you out. And then if you're nasty about it, no one wants to help you out.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
as an investor, they're buying, they're out there. It is tough. There are horror stories, but people are people, no matter what industry you're in. There's good ones, there's bad ones. There's people that are maybe seem bad but aren't that bad. You know, you just got to talk to them. So it's a wild world, but investors are buying. We are set up to help investors. We are pro investor. We are pro, you know, a bad situation turning into a better situation.
Mhm.
And not all investors do that. Okay, we're not working with everybody, but
Right.
uh, there's people buying, and first time home buyers that are out there buying right now are setting themselves up for success. They're going to be able to refinance in the next few years. You know, 2 years ago we were saying the same thing. There have been opportunities to refi. People have chosen not to because it wasn't enough and they want to wait longer. That's fine, but there are opportunities to lower payments all the time.
Mhm.
So, yeah, your rent, you can't go to the landlord and say, "I want to refinance my rent." You can't
Right.
do it. So,
You could be bold and say, "Hey, let's refinance the loan on this building you got. Maybe
yeah,
lower some rents."
got a guy.
Yeah,
So that's
that'd
my
be a hell of a
soapbox.
pitch.
That's my soapbox today. Is opportunities are out there, and
Yeah.
everyone thinks that the markets are going to take off. So the stock markets have had a couple good days in a row. The rate market's starting to have a couple good days in a row. There's a boom coming at the end of, it always whips at the end, right? Real slow, slow, and then it comes back.
Mhm.
So, but that could be another year, another 2 years. We have no idea.
So, I mean, if you're able to act is really what it comes down to.
And if you want to act, but you're not able to, still act. Ask
Mhm.
questions. Let us help. Planning and preparing early is all the difference. Now, some people don't like the answers, and then they think I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I had that situation too, where the feedback to the realtor referral partner said, "Oh, he's wasn't interested enough. He didn't like it." No way! I give you an hour of my time to describe to you what you can do and how your situation can improve. But if you're not interested in listening, you're not interested in listening.
Right. Yeah. I deal with that as well. So,
I'm not being mean by telling you your score is 400. That's not a
yeah.
qualifying score.
Yeah.
That's not me being mean to you. I'm just
That's not
letting
an
you know.
opinion. That's not an
It's not,
opinion.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't qualify that. Um,
Uh,
but if you got a 650 score, I'm just going to tell you, if it was 700, you might get a better deal, but you can still qualify. So
yeah.
I want to give you information so that you can decide. Well, do I do X, Y, and Z to try to get a little stronger, or do I just go ahead and go now because the numbers work? And
Exactly.
then when
Yeah.
I refine, the numbers will be even better because now I
Mhm.
qualify for top scores. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and I guess today my overall attitude is just like, come on, people, you got to whip into shape, or you might get passed by.
Yeah. I think that's an important message. I think some consumers are starting to understand that and hear it when it's said. Because you definitely know you missed it when you missed it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I think that's all great on the investor side and just waiting for that market to, there's indicators that it's slowly creeping and then eventually it's going to start sprinting. So if you're not ready
yep,
now, at least start getting prepared because it hasn't took off yet. So still have time to do the necessary steps, like you're saying, to get in a position to be able to sprint alongside everyone else.
yeah. And my message is just ask for help and don't take advice from people who don't know what they're talking about. It does not have to be me. I don't need every deal in the city of Fort Worth,
Hmm.
but I want people in my community to get good advice and be set up for success. And I'm happy to do that whether we work together or not. But I believe if we do work together, you'll find value in what we have to offer. But just get good help and stop letting people from the peanut gallery get into your ear and let them tell you about how their situation was in the 90s because it's
Yeah.
not that way anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in 92, I mean, insurance was cheap, taxes were low. Why don't you just do that now? It's like,
Yeah,
well, I don't think I can
yeah.
dictate that.
Why are you paying that much in taxes? Well, because I'm not a disabled veteran, Dad. You
Yeah.
know, I don't get the exemption that you get. I don't have an ag exemption. Just because
Yeah.
you own a farm and you pay $15 a year in taxes, like I can't do that on my one
I live
eighth
in
of
a
an
condo.
acre lot.
Yeah.
So every situation is different.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that was good today. A lot of different topics. Um,
Yeah, got on a rant a little bit, but whatever, it happens.
I think it was a good rant. So I don't think rants
I'm
are bad as long as the topic's concise.
My final thought is I'm not a bad guy. Okay, the markets. If you
I'm
want a
not a
bad
bad
guy,
guy.
it's the markets. They're the
Who
bad
hurt,
guy.
who hurt you?
The
Why are you worried that
Yeah.
people think you're a bad guy? Who hurt you?
No, I'm just saying. Like sometimes information being delivered is not like I don't like you. Here's the information. It's this is it. This is what it is. This is the information. I'm
Yeah.
not apologetic about that. So I can help you. Do you want it or
Hmm.
not?
Exactly. Yeah. That's our main message. That's what we do, both of us. Different avenues, but I'm here to present information and tell you how it works for you and how it
And
doesn't work for you.
and
That's
the
it.
and the reason I've got all this coach speak, like locker room motivational kind of talk here is because opportunities are out there. I'm looking at buying more right now too. And so even with a bad experience with a bad tenant, I'm buying. I'm a buyer. I'm also
Yeah.
might be a seller too, but I might
Hmm.
be a seller to be a buyer.
Yeah.
So I believe in the markets and I'm doing the things that I say other people should do. I'm actively doing it
Yeah.
because I'm not a rich man right now. But I sure would like my properties to prove me right in 10 years.
Yeah. I really wish you had said that in a Forrest Gump voice, to be honest. I'm not a rich man right now.
Yeah. And my goal is not to be the rich guy and to be a rich guy either. It's just
Mm,
I'm looking for financial freedom.
yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be on a schedule the way I'm on a schedule these days.
Well, you're on your way, so that's all
Yeah,
that
we all
matters.
are. And if everyone just has some extra conversations and gets a little curious, then everyone could be on the same route. Buy Bitcoin. I don't know.
There are some points of our conversation where you froze,
Perfect.
and it would maybe like less than a minute of this entire conversation was like you froze, and then it like sped your voice up to catch up, or it was just like kind of spotty. So just to have Trey check that. I don't. It wasn't long,
Are
but
we done? We're done recording, I guess.
yeah.
And
Oh,
the
we got 4 minutes left, so I
well,
figured.
end the recording, and then we'll just end it abruptly.